The presidents of Ukraine and Poland together mark the anniversary of the Volhynia massacre, one of World War II's bloodiest episodes. The United States' decision to provide Ukraine with cluster munitions has been met with criticism from Western allies.
Ambitious, balanced and green. Commission President Ursula von der Leyen welcomes the EU's new trade deal with New Zealand.
The presidents of Ukraine and Poland together mark the anniversary of one of World War II's bloodiest episodes. Volodymyr Zelensky and Andrzej Duda visited a church in the Ukrainian city of Lutsk on Sunday. The Volhynia massacre took place between 1943 and 45 during the Second World War, which saw both nations lose tens of thousands of lives. Warsaw support is more important than ever for Kyiv ahead of this week's NATO summit, where Ukraine is hoping for decisions that will hasten its goals of membership in the alliance. The Ukrainian president took to Twitter to thank his Polish counterpart, stressing the importance of standing together. It was a busy weekend for Zelensky, who was also in Turkey marking the 500th day of Russia's full-scale invasion of his country. Returning back to Ukraine, he brought back with him 5 commanders forced to live in Turkey under the terms of a prisoner exchange last year. The men were involved in the defence of the infamous Azovstal steel plant in Mariupol. A very difficult decision. That's how US President Joe Biden described Washington's commitment to send cluster munitions to Ukraine. Over 100 countries prohibit the use of the bombs under an international treaty because of their track record of causing many civilian casualties. The Spanish Defense Minister, Margarita Robles, is one of the many to speak out against the US decision.
España, desde el compromiso firme que tiene con Ucrania, pero tiene también un compromiso firme en que determinadas armas, determinadas bombas, no se pueden entregar en ningún caso.
Germany has also signed the international ban.
Wir sollten uns also auch noch mal vergegenwärtigen, dass Russland in einem völkerrechtswidrigen Angriffskrieg gegen die Ukraine bereits in großem Umfang Streumunition eingesetzt hat.
UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak too publicly discouraged the use of cluster munitions. Sunak is due to welcome President Biden in London on Monday, where apprehension and criticism over the munitions delivery are likely to be raised on behalf of concerned allies. NATO forces have been intensifying their efforts to intercept Russian aircraft entering NATO airspace since the war in Ukraine began. Alliance pilots are conducting regular training missions to improve their effectiveness, and Euronews went along to watch. In a simulated exercise, an aircraft took off from the Netherlands towards Lithuania and served as a target. The plane was then intercepted by Czech fighter jets.
Conform scenariului, avionul multirol în care ne aflăm este interceptat de mai multe ori pe parcursul zborului de avioane de vânătoare precum F-16, F-18 sau Eurofighter Typhoon. Acestea aparțin forțelor aeriene ale statelor membre NATO și execută misiuni de poliție aeriană pentru a proteja spațiul aerian al alianței de orice amenințare.
The air policing military trained themselves around the clocks as Russian jets increasingly threatened NATO's airspace. In Romania, NATO pilots conducted around 160 real interceptions last year, 3 times more than in 2021.
For your cooperation and have a nice flight.
Harold Van P is a commander aboard the NATO flight.
In the south, where you actually have Ukraine and the Black Sea, it is a bit more complicated than it used to be because you now have actually a war going on over there. It makes it more difficult for the NATO countries in the south to deal with the situation than let's say in the north, where you still have the same borders, let's put it this way, than before February of last year.
Every day, about 30 alliance planes patrol the airspace of member states. Some of them carry out air policing missions in Baltic countries that do not have fighter jets of their own. A Romanian military detachment flying 4 F-16 aircrafts has been deployed at a military base in Lithuania since March.
Tot ceea ce ați văzut sunt operațiunile pe care le facem în cazul unei alerte reale. Pentru a fi pregătiți tot timpul, facem aceste exerciții aproape zilnic.
E o ocazie bună să punem în practică tot antrenamentul pe care l-am făcut acasă și cu alți parteneri.
After leaving Lithuania, the Airbus playing the role of the target was intercepted by the Romanian pilots.
been a pleasure. Have a good journey. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Goodbye.
It then returned to the Netherlands, crossing the airspace of Latvia and Estonia, Finland, Sweden, Denmark and Great Britain. In each country, interceptions were simulated. Several fighter jets were also refueled mid-flight by the multi-role tanker transporter. The tanker belonged to the multinational multi-role unit, which includes 6 NATO countries and reports to the NATO Support and Procurement Agency. The unit can execute missions internationally. In about 2 years, it will be fully operational, and the multi-role aircraft could be deployed on long-haul missions in other countries.
It's Romania's turn to train Ukrainian pilots on F-16 fighter jets. For months, Ukraine has been asking for this American-made aircraft to help fight off the Russian invasion. And on May 19th, after numerous refusals, US President Joe Biden gave the go-ahead. Kyiv is finding it difficult to assert itself in the air, and the F-16 would enable it to regain control of the sky and provide backup for troops.
Pour faire de l'appui au sol, donc pour s'en prendre aux pointes russes qui attaquent, soit soutenir une attaque ukrainienne pour intercepter des avions de combat qui viendraient justement dans l'espace aérien ukrainien, voire éventuellement avec certaines munitions pour intercepter les missiles et les drones qui menacent des points sensibles.
Quand vous êtes dans la manœuvre, vous êtes par exemple en train de bombarder des forces ennemies avec de l'artillerie, et l'utilité, c'est, avec ces avions de combat, de pouvoir cibler les forces russes qui sont en train de manœuvrer en face.
A number of countries, including the UK, the Netherlands, Denmark and Poland, have promised to help Ukraine train its F-16 pilots and get them ready to fly by the autumn.
Les pilotes, c'est qu'une partie du problème. Il faut bien sûr former le personnel au sol, à savoir les mécaniciens, mais aussi intégrer le système et ses armes dans ce qu'on appelle le système d'identification ami-ennemi, qui est un enjeu très très important pour que tout simplement la défense aérienne ukrainienne ne tire pas sur leurs propres avions. Si vous voulez. Donc vous avez un pilote, vous allez avoir entre 10 et 20 mécaniciens minimum, plus des techniciens au sol qui vont se charger du reste.
Il faut libérer du temps dans les armées occidentales pour former des pilotes ukrainiens.
Ukraine and its allies hope that mastering these planes will mark a turning point in this war.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and New Zealand Prime Minister Chris Hipkins welcomed the signing on Sunday of a free trade agreement between the EU and the South Pacific country. At a ceremony in Brussels, the leaders stressed their common interests, from net zero goals to the condemnation of Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
The geopolitical landscape is increasingly shifting and uncertain. All the more reasons for like-minded partners like us to strengthen our ties so that we can navigate the different risks, but also deliver for our citizens.
We continue to place a premium on our shared values and partnerships with Europe. The EU FTA, which we're signing today, reflects those values. It's of huge benefit to both partners.
The EU is already one of New Zealand's biggest trade partners, and the new deal could see that increase by up to 30%.
Forest fires are a recurring nightmare, and not just in summer. It's a worsening problem with sixth-generation fires, or mega forest fires, which are more virulent and difficult to extinguish due to drought and global warming. In Spain alone, in the first half of 2023, more than 65,000 hectares burned. That's 55% of the burned land in the European Union.
Debido al cambio climático que estamos teniendo y debido a un abandono del mundo rural, que lo que hace ese abandono del mundo rural es aumentar la carga de combustible vegetal en los bosques, hace que estos incendios sean más virulentos y se ocasionen con mayor frecuencia debido a los grandes periodos de sequía que estamos teniendo. El gran desafío realmente está en la prevención, no en la extinción.
In Canada, 8 million hectares are burned so far this year. It's an unprecedented catastrophic situation with some 400 active fires. The smoke and huge carbon monoxide emissions from these has reached countries as far away as Portugal and Spain.
We need to cooperate not just in the response time, but we need to cooperate in a phase of preparedness. We need to share the information about the best practice in fire prevention. It's very important to share these specific capacities like planes and helicopters because if something has happened in one country, we always need to support from other countries.
The experts propose the use of drones, satellites and sensor networks, along with artificial intelligence techniques which will prevent and detect fires more quickly and accurately.
Canadian Michael Woods delivered an impressive solo effort to claim the biggest success of his career at the top of a legendary Tour de France climb on Sunday, as two-time champion Tadej Pogačar further reduced the gap with overall leaders Jonas Vingegaard. Woods, who rides for the Israel Premier Tech team, was part of an early breakaway that the main contenders allowed to form early in the ninth stage. Vingegaard has a 17-second lead over Pogačar in the general classification, with Jai Hindley in third place at 2 minutes 40 seconds off the pace. Max Verstappen recovered from a slow start to win the British Grand Prix on Sunday for his 6th Formula 1 win in a row, as Lando Norris held off fellow British driver Lewis Hamilton in a thrilling battle for second. The Dutchman was overtaken off the line by McLaren's Norris, but swept back into the lead on lap 5 and held on until the end. Norris had been expected to drop back after qualifying a surprise second on the grid, but instead remained Verstappen's closest challenger throughout the race.